Hi guys, well the XV1000 motor is now out of the frame and it's probably twice as heavy as the CX500 motor. Well, it is 1000cc, and I have to get it up onto the bench to start stripping it. So I've made up a bit of a frame out of some bits of steel I've had around the place. So I'm just going to get this up onto the bench. So let's get it over here. I picked up this nice little chain pull off my favourite place, Marketplace, for a good price. So we'll just lift her up. They are a heavy motor. Okay, here we go. That should be high enough, I reckon. Out of the way. Bring the bench in. I reckon I'll quite put down about there. So that's it. The Virago is now on the bench, ready to be stripped. Okay, the XV1000 is up on the bench, ready to be stripped, and with this being the first time I've ever stripped one, I'm going to follow the Haynes maintenance manual. And they've got a procedure for stripping the engine, like removing the heads, the camshaft, the rocker arms, the cylinders, the pistons, da. I'm just going to go down the list and get this motor stripped. So the first thing they want me to do is to set the rear cylinder to top dead center. Okay, so I'm going to take off this clutch cover. And behind the clutch cover we've got an inspection window that you can see the timing marks, and a plug here that you'll take out so that we can crank the motor over. So the inspection plug comes out. Next I'm going to remove the cam sprocket cover. Take that off so we can see the cam chain and sprocket behind there. It comes off, and there's our cam chain. Next, take the valve rocker covers off. Let's give it a little tap with the soft hammer. Off they come, and we can see our valves there. Next we want to rotate this motor over to top dead center. To make job easier, I'm going to take these spark plugs out. Spark plugs out. The back one's looking a bit rich and the front one's looking a bit lean. Okay, so now we've got the spark plugs out, we can rotate the motor. It's got an arrow on it, so we're going in a clockwise direction. And we'll rotate around until our inlet valve opens and then closes, and then we're coming up on the compression stroke. And I'll just look through the sight glass here. We get a dash. and keep coming around, 2 dashes, and then the T mark comes up right there. We've got a T mark there, inlet valve is closed, pistons come up, and we have the dot on the top here aligned with this neck on the casting. So the rear cylinder now is on top dead center. Next thing we're going to do is remove the cam chain tensioner. And there's 2 types of these. There's an type A and a type B. This is a type B because it's got a hexagon nut on it. So you remove the hexagon nut first. There's a cover and a spring, I think. So that comes out, spring loaded, long spring. That comes out of the tensioner itself, and then we take the tensioner body out of the cylinder. And the tensioner comes out. This is type B tensioner, but the hex nut, long spring goes in it. There is another type A as well. Next thing, we tie a little string to the chain so we don't lose it. Well, I'm thinking it shouldn't really matter because I'm stripping the motor, but the book says that, so I'm going to do it. Next we undo the camshaft bolt. And I'm holding the motor down here with another socket. Okay, we take the cam chain sprocket bolt out. We've got our string on, and we remove the cam sprocket off the camshaft and remove that sprocket from the chain. Okay, I've just switched the motor around so you can see this side. Remove this oil line. Two copper washers on there which will be replaced. And the oil line comes off. So now I'll just turn the motor back to where we were. Next we undo the 4-cylinder head bolts. Just a little bit at a time. Four bolts are off. Brackets then come off. The 2 brackets. Next we have the 2 Allen screws and 1 bolt here next to the spark plug to get out. This is a 14mm. This is nice and tight. Loosened off. And the 2 Allen screws. Okay, they come out. So 2 Allen screws and the bolt. And the head is now ready to be removed. Loosen this cam chain off, like so. So we've still got that, and give them a little, bolts a little squirt with CRC as it comes off. And just using a big screwdriver, we'll try and wedge this off now. You don't want to be in between the surfaces, of course, and you want to be careful of your fins. So just prizing on good solid material, you can get the head up. Here she comes. So just lift this head off. And there we go. And quite a large piston there looking at us. But yeah, this rear cylinder looks as though it's been running pretty rich. Have a look at that. The valves are pretty sooty looking. So we'll have to have a look at the carby and when we rebuild it. So heads off, put that away somewhere safe. Next we take the front cam chain dampener out. Front of the bike, cam chain, front cam chain dampener. This just pops out. And it's like a notch that sits in a groove in the casting. So that's out, that comes out. Next we've got 3 Allen head screws here on the bottom of the cylinder. So we'll take them out and we can remove the cylinder. Not very tight. Good. Okay, they're out. So now the cylinder should come off. Okay, we'll get the screwdriver underneath there. Be careful not to damage anything. Like so. Okay. And there's our cylinder. And the bores don't look too bad. We'll measure them. A bit of a hone, I reckon. No scores on there. Cylinder off. Okay, next thing's to get this piston off the conrod. First thing I'll do is just put a clean rag in here so we don't lose the circlip. And using my trusty scriber, and out he comes. Next we tap the gudgeon pin out. There she goes. And there's the piston off. Okay, that's it on the rear cylinder. Exact same thing applies to the front cylinder. So that's the next thing we'll get off, and then we'll get into the crankcase.